Welcome back to the channel, guys. Doing something a bit different today. Going to be servicing the Freehub on the Hunt Enduro wide wheel set. I've got a bit of a problem with it, so when it's freewheeling, the Freehub's not actually turning on the actual Freehub. It's spinning the pedals as well. So what I'm going to do is just show you how to strip the Freehub down, give it a clean and a re-grease if this ever happens to you. So let's get into it. As you can see, when I'm pushing the bike, the pedals are spinning around too, which means the Freehub needs servicing. It's probably got a load of grit and muck stuck inside. Probably just needs clean out and a re-grease. So let's take it apart and see what the problem is. Now, just before we start the job, I'll show you what tools that you're going to need to carry out the task. You don't really need too much, just a few basic bike tools. Obviously you're going to need to remove your wheel, so whatever tool you need to use to remove your wheel, or some you can undo by hand anyway. So first of all, we'll be removing the cassette, so you're going to need a chain whip. Then you're going to need your cassette lock ring chain tool. If it's a socket type with like a 1/2 inch drive like that one is, then obviously you're going to need a ratchet to undo it. You're going to need two 17mm cone spanners, because regular spanners won't fit, because the well, I'll just show you here now if you can see it on the camera. I don't know if you can see the slots on here, but a regular spanner will not fit in because the actual gap itself is too narrow, hence why you need to use cone spanners. So what else we got? We've got a torque wrench tightening up the cassette when we've put everything back together. Got some bike degreaser here just to clean everything up. We'll give everything a good clean, and then some lithium grease, which I've spoken to Hunt Wheels and they've recommended that I use lithium grease, and that's basically it. That's all you really need, so let's crack into it. Right, so first job, we're going to remove the cassette. So we're going to need our 1/2 inch ratchet, cassette removal tool, or lock ring tool should I say. Then we're going to need the chain whip. So obviously we're going to be going anti-clockwise, so we need to counteract that movement with the chain whip. So just place it around the cassette. As you can see, when I pull up, it's going to allow me to undo the cassette lock ring, and the cassette will not just spin round. Right, literally as simple as that. Remove the whip. As you can see, that's what holds my cassette on anyway. I don't know if some might be different. Anyway, put that to the side in a safe place. Then what I like to do is grab the whole cassette as a oneer, because quite a few of these cogs, as you can see, lift off separately. So what I like to do is just lift it all off in one go, and then you know that you're not going to lose what place the spaces in between some of the cogs are going to go. I'll just put that to the side in a safe place also, somewhere where you're not going to knock it over. Right, that's the cassette off. Next of all, we need to remove the axle from the wheel. So, to remove the axle normally, you need your 2 cone spanners. But I've already found that on mine, see this here, I'm holding the other side with my hand, and this side was already loose. So what you're meant to do is get your 2 cone spanners, place one on the drive side and then one on the brake side, and then crack it off. But because mine was already loose enough to turn by hand, I'm thinking that might have been part of the problem why my Freehub wasn't working properly too. So literally take that part off there, put that to the side safely. If you can see on here as well, there's a little O-ring in there. Make sure that O-ring's in there because you don't want to lose that, otherwise one of your wheel bearings is going to end up caked in mud. Right, we'll flip the wheel round. I think, yeah, literally that is the axle removed. As you can see here are the poles that make the clicking noise when your wheel's turning. What we're going to do is just give these a good clean up. So I've been riding through some really bad conditions recently, so give them a clean up and a re-grease, and it should be all really nice and smooth running afterwards. But also we will give inside here a clean up. You can see the teeth in there. Those teeth inside here are what the poles catch on the Freehub body to give you your drive. So we'll give them a clean up as well and a bit of new grease. We should all be good. Also, while you've yeah, little black spacer there, don't forget that one, guys. Put that to the side, and when you're reassembling, do not forget to put that in. I must remember, put that to the side safely. Yes. So also as well as this rubber seal here, I've got to remember to put that back on afterwards. We'll give that a good clean up as well because it's caked in mud. And I think the purpose of this out is to keep all the mud out, so we'll give that a good clean, put a bit of grease around there. It should give us a nice tight seal then. Right, so the next process is the cleaning process. So what I would advise doing is using some degreaser, but what I'm not going to do is spray directly into here because I don't want any degreaser getting inside my wheel bearing, because if the wheel bearing loses its grease then it's going to wear out fairly quickly. So I'm just going to give my rag a good old spray. Once it's nice and wet. Right guys, next step is clean the poles out. As you can see by my finger, there's a bit of black grease on there. Yeah, it's not majorly dirty, but if we get rid of as much muck and grime as we can, again I've sprayed some degreaser on the rag because there's another bearing in there for the Freehub body itself. I don't want to be cleaning the grease out of there because that'll just wear out really quickly. So give it all a nice good clean, and once I've used the wet side of the rag, I'll just go around with the dry bit and wipe off any excess degreaser. As you can see, it's looking pretty nice now, nice and shiny. And while we're here, we'll give the Freehub body a good clean itself where the cassette mounts onto. And again, now we'll just give a good wipe of the actual axle shaft itself. Right, next step is re-greasing and reassembling. So I'm not going to use too much grease, as Hunt have advised not to use too much grease, otherwise the mechanism won't work properly. And also I don't want to put too much on, otherwise I'll lose the very nice sound that the hub makes. Just make sure you get a nice covering all the way around all the teeth. That'll do nicely. So next, you don't need to put any on the outside of the paws here, but what I am going to do is try and get some inside the little mechanism there on each paw. Again, don't need to put too much in, but find if you lift the paw back like that, and then you can just spread the grease underneath. Don't worry if you don't get it in every crevice, because once your hub's spinning, grease will warm up and it'll tend to find its own way into every crevice. Right, that's the grease reapplied. So if you remember at the beginning of the video, I took this little black spacer out. All I'm going to do, so I don't forget, is slide it over the axle shaft, and then I'm not going to forget about that now. I need to remember to put this rubber seal back in, so I'll just give that a quick wipe too. So as you can see, that's nice and clean now too. Right, so the next step is reinstalling the actual axle back into the wheel. So when you're reinstalling the rubber seal, I don't know if you can see it from the GoPro, but there's a little groove just next to the poles. You just need to take the seal and just push it in all the way around until it's all sat in. As you can see, I can spin that, it's sat in the groove now. In fact, before I put this back in, I just need to reapply a bit of grease around the axle shaft itself. It doesn't need to be loads. So now comes the tricky bit. Because all these poles are spring loaded, what you need to do is try and compress them all at the same time so that they fit back into the body of the hub here. Right, I did manage to get this hub back into the wheel itself without this rubber sealing before, which was quite easy. I managed to get my fingers on every pole, but because I've put the rubber seal back on now, it's quite tricky. However, I have come up with a solution using a bit of wire. I don't know, you could use a bit of string or anything that you can curl around it. So basically all you do is hook that behind the seal. Let's pull that out a bit. And what you're wanting to do is pull it in tight so that you're compressing all the poles, and as you can see, that has now gone in. Yeah, just goes to show you, you know, you can use anything that's laying around to help you with any job. You just got to use your imagination a bit, and that's made the job about 10 times easier and quicker. So now all we need to do is thread the other side of the axle back on. Again, I'm just going to give this bit a wipe down. Don't want to be putting anything dirty back on really. Right, that's all nice and clean now. So all you need to do is take your right hand, or well, whichever way you're orientated, hold the other side of the axle. As you can see, it's spinning there. You just need to hold that still and thread this side on. It's just like a nut really. And again, make sure that you've got your O-ring installed in here, otherwise you're going to let all the elements inside and possibly destroy your bearings. So it's a normal thread. And screw that in by hand until you can't go any further. Now it does say to tighten this axle up to 8 Nm, but I don't know of any tool that you can use to torque this up. I don't know if any of you know, then leave me a comment down below and I'll look into it. So all I'm going to do now is place my cone spanner on there. Just going to take the wheel in between my legs just to help me support the wheel, and then I'm just going to tighten this axle up. That's probably about right now. And there we have it. It's the Hunt Enduro wide wheel set is well, the Freehub is serviced. Should be running nice again now. I'm not 100% sure, but I would imagine that all the mountain bike wheels that Hunt provide have probably got the same sort of hub on. So, you know, there might be some variations, but I reckon it's fairly similar. So yeah, if you've got one of the other mountain bike variants of these wheels, give it a go. Let me know, see what happens, see if there's anything different. Now we need to put the cassette back on. I nearly forgot that. That would be quite handy. You'll see on the Freehub body itself, this spline here is a lot thinner than all the other ones. So what I normally do is just put that right to the top, and then again, if you look on the inside of your hub, you will see the small spline. You get all that lined up with each other and lined up with the top, and as you can see, easy, simples. Right, then you need to put your lock ring on. Now you need to be careful with these not to cross thread them, so I always put mine in by hand, make sure it turns all the way in. This is where the torque wrench comes in handy. So on my Shimano cassette lock ring, it actually tells me the torque setting on the actual lock ring itself, so I need to tighten it to 40 Newton meters. I'll set my torque wrench to 40, take my cassette lock ring tool, place that on the torque wrench. Now because the Freehub only spins freely one way, you don't need the chain whip to tighten this back up. There you go, 40 Newton meters, all nice and tight, ready to go back in the bike and give it a try. Right guys, so that's the job complete. It's all running nice and smoothly. I mean, I didn't really need to service the Freehub in the end. It was just the loose axle, but you know, I thought might as well do it while I'm there. Show you guys how to do it as well, because I know Hunt haven't got any official videos on how to do it on the mountain bike wheel set yet. But yeah, as you've seen, it's a simple job. You only need a few basic tools, and pretty much anyone can do it really. It's not overly complicated. You know, if you're worried about tackling the job, don't be, because that was really easy. I hope you found it useful, and also it's been good for me to know how my hub goes together, so if I do run into any more problems in the future, I'll be able to diagnose it really quickly and strip it down quick and get myself back on the trails. Cheers for watching guys. Don't forget to leave us a comment down below what you've thought of the video. If you found it helpful, let me know your experiences, and yeah, I'll see you next time on another maintenance video. Cheers guys.